This is Tskaltubo.
He said that like the family members that were killed in front of his eyes, he like how to say dug the grave for all of them. She said that like there always will be hope. The hope will always exist that they can go back there.
After the Abkhazian war, and then the number of refugees in Georgia was huge, so there was really just nowhere else for people to go other than places like this.
Hope is the last thing that ever dies, like we say in Georgia, but still that hope has to have some kind of fundaments behind it. That's it. That's
I was in Tskaltubo, a town in western Georgia where the remnants of the once mighty Soviet Union lie in the crumbling hotels and abandoned sanatoriums. A town suspended in time, Tskaltubo was once a flagship Soviet spa resort, a place where ideology met indulgence, where mineral waters, grand architecture, and central planning all converged in one therapeutic Soviet utopia. Tskaltubo's rise began in the 1920s, when its naturally warm, radon-rich springs were deemed beneficial for treating circulatory and musculoskeletal disorders. But it was under Joseph Stalin that the town reached its zenith. He is said to have been a frequent visitor himself, and Tskaltubo became a favoured destination for workers on state-sponsored holidays. At its peak, Tskaltubo hosted over 100,000 guests annually. They stayed in as many as 22 luxurious sanatoriums, with direct train lines from Moscow delivering holidaymakers seeking both rest and rejuvenation. But with the collapse of the Soviet Union, spa tourism collapsed too. Buildings were abandoned, sanatoriums lay empty, and the baths fell silent. In the early 1990s, Georgia was newly independent, but politically unstable. A brutal conflict erupted in Abkhazia, a breakaway region in the northwest. Backed by Russian forces and local separatists, Abkhazia fought for independence from Tbilisi's control. The war led to ethnic cleansing of Georgians living in the region. Over 200,000 people were displaced, the vast majority of them ethnic Georgians. Many of these refugees were sent to Tskaltubo. The abandoned sanatoriums became makeshift homes, not for holidaymakers, but for families fleeing violence. Grand lobbies became communal kitchens. Former treatment rooms were turned into bedrooms. Decades later, hundreds of people still live in these ruins, many of them in limbo, unable to return to their homes in Abkhazia and awaiting permanent housing that often never comes. Faded grandeur, lived-in decay, and complicated memories. It stands as both a relic of Soviet ambition and a witness to the human cost of unresolved conflict. But now, as Georgia's tourism industry booms, refugees are slowly being rehomed in new apartment blocks, and old sanatoriums are being redeveloped into modern spa complexes. I wanted to explore the hidden side of modern Georgia's story, one of displacement and breakaway territories. So I set out to meet the refugees who still call these faded Soviet hotels home. Alright guys, so we're just going to head off. Just met up with Lasha here.
nice to meet you.
Oh,
Good
wait.
morning. Good morning, everyone.
He's from Budget, Georgia. He's a Tskaltubo local, and he's going to show us around the town today. So let's go. I was staying at Tskaltubo Legend Spa Resort, a completely refurbished Soviet sanatorium. Just around the corner though, Lasha took us to our first derelict sanatorium, Sanatorium Aya. Once we were inside the crumbling shell of this once grand hotel, Lasha began to explain more about the history of Tskaltubo. Okay, so Lasha's brought us to the first old hotel, which dates back to the 50s. It's called Aya, after the old name for Kutaisi, one of the ancient capitals of Georgia. And people used to live here until 2022. They were refugees from the Abkhazian conflict, but now they've kind of moved into more modern accommodation. There's some amazing mosaics that Lasha wanted to show us.
Welcome to the Tskaltubo city, like a city which is filled with different sanatoriums, different like waters and everything, which in some ways created the most popular city of Soviet Union. The first signs of like water exploration here happened in the 7th century. 7th century, when in the middle of the area, this was not a city, it was just a village, and people were coming and they were looking at something that steam was coming out of the ground. That water itself is the thing where Tskaltubo city got based on. The people that they wanted to heal themselves because they had wounds, they had scars, they had some damage on their legs and everything. So Tskaltubo city, like Tskali, and city based on water, was created because of the special water in this city, this sulfate water, which it gives you all kinds of opportunities to relax, to meditate, to have healthcare and everything. And of course, then Soviet Union period, Joseph Stalin's like a presence in the city, and everything became the reason when 1953 this area was claimed as an official city.
How many families were living here, sort of at the height of
You know,
when it was busiest?
no, like 50 families.
50 families. Oh
you
wow!
know?
And they were living here from like the 1990s.
Yes. Let's go deeper into the history to have all kinds of imagination. What happened here, how people were moved, like what happened with the sanatoriums and everything. Like 1936 was the time where everything started here.
Right.
Development, creating balneo areas, creating sanatoriums and everything. But the peak of this city happened in 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s. The times when everything gained its popularity, it was recognizable for everyone in 15 different republics of Soviet Union. After Stalin's death, 1953, 5 of March, everything changed. I don't respect him in many ways. I'm not gonna say good things about him, but only thing that I can give him, he was quite a strong leader. So 1990s, like starting from 1982 even till the 1990s, here in Soviet Union was huge cracks of destruction, no, which would eventually happen. It was just a matter of time that it would destroy itself, which happened in 1991 as well. Starting from 1991 till the 1994, for 3 years, all these places were closed. No sanatoriums, no balneary areas, nothing was working here, and they were locked. But there comes like a harsh reality. Then, like in 1992, when these places were closed and everything, of course, Georgia was attacked by Russian Federation. And 1992 was one of the most difficult times in modern Georgian history because almost 25,000 people were killed there, and more than 200,000 were forced to leave their houses. So where's the space to give these people the houses? It was one of the most common was Tskaltubo city, and so many families, approximately 980 families were moved to Tskaltubo
Oh
area.
wow! Yeah.
This building is quite big, as you can see, and more than 50 families lived here in the highest capacity and highest a number that we had. But then, of course, they were given new apartments gradually.
Yeah.
2010, 2014, even 19. Of course, they have normal conditions to live there, but nothing can change their past. So many Abkhazians that got moved here. They were almost millionaires in Abkhazia.
Oh really?
They were producing all kinds of fruits, for example, orange, lemons, the mandarins, everything. At the same time, they had tourists all the time. All the time,
Yeah.
So they were generating money from the agriculture, from the tourism. They had all kinds of facilities, and they were living in castles. My mother's family they are from Abkhazia,
Oh really?
uncle,
Yeah.
and my grandpa as well, and all of them are from Abkhazia. And we've seen people here living in Tskaltubo city, and of course you need Abkhazian or Russian passport to go there and see what happens there. But of course they managed to cross the border once or twice, and they told me that Ochamchire, Gali city, nothing looks like the same what it used to be before.
Right.
From
Yeah.
Russians they were promised the money, the freedom, republic and everything, but what
Yeah.
they have right now, 1 year ago we knew that the parliament was the place of battle between locals and the government. So nothing is happening, nothing
Right.
great is happening there, and all these people who are moved here, their history is damaged. They might be a physically survival, and they physically manage to keep their themselves alive, but here is
Mentally.
a huge problem.
Yeah.
Mentality. They have all kinds of diseases, not many of them are able to work, and their lives were damaged in some
Yeah.
ways.
So your family refugees from Abkhazia, or just on
My
your
mother's family.
mother's side?
My mother's family. My father is from here. He was
Yeah.
born and raised in Tskaltubo city. At some point, he was a worker in sanatoriums as well. But like my mother's family is purely from Abkhazia.
Oh, I see.
The
Yeah.
uncle, like aunt, like my grandpa as well. All of them are from
Yeah.
Abkhazia.
So this is the outside of the hotel we were in, and people are still living apparently on the top floors. And then at the height of sort of in the 90s, I suppose, in the 2000s, there was as many as 50 families living in these, literally living in the hotel rooms themselves, because there was nowhere else in Georgia for them to go after the conflict in Abkhazia. After exploring the ruins of Aya Sanatorium, Lasha showed me through Tskaltubo, first to the derelict train station, which once connected Tskaltubo to Moscow. The line, which passed through Abkhazia, was severed during the fall of the Soviet Union, however, to stop the Russian military from using the train line to invade Georgia. So this is the Tskaltubo train station. As you can see, the train tracks are still all here. But when this was the most popular spa resort in the Soviet Union, you would have trains coming here from all over the USSR, from Moscow, Leningrad, all of the different Soviet republics, just to bring the holidaymakers to Tskaltubo. But then the train line was kind of severed, or the train line to Russia was severed after the collapse of the Soviet Union, to basically stop Russia militarily using the tracks to potentially take over Georgia. What I didn't know was this line was still running to Tbilisi until 2019, but unfortunately because of COVID, they stopped it. It was a 6-hour journey, so it's a long trip to Tbilisi. But perhaps in the future they'll bring the line back and make it a lot easier to get here to Tskaltubo to see the spa town. From the train station we headed to the Grand Central Park, which is otherwise known as the balneological area. This is where the hot springs flow, where the mineral waters bubble from beneath the ground. Within the balneological area is spring number 6, where Stalin's likeness still looms over the entranceway. Spring number 6 is still in action and it's been refurbished. Inside the lavish marbled reception area, Lasher explained how you can still undergo very Soviet treatments, including electroshock therapy. Outside, however, and many of the sanatoriums and spas are still yet to be refurbished. They still lie derelict years after the fall of the Soviet Union. Hundreds of families used to live inside these sanatoriums. However, most have now moved on to better housing. It wasn't until we reached Sanatorium Metallurgy that we found people still resident inside the old hotels. Soon enough, we'd meet 2 refugees from the Abkhazian conflict who had lived in the Metallurgy Sanatorium for decades. Alright guys, so we're just at Metallurgy now. This is one of the main hotels that was lived in for a long time. When I was here in 2018 or 2019, this place was packed with families. And you can see the balconies behind me where some people are still living. Lasha says there's still a few people live here. So we're going to go and see if we can find someone to maybe speak to tell us their story. Gamajova. These were the two service lifts that would bring you upstairs. And yeah, you can see this place is a lot cleaner than the other ones we've been into purely because people have lived here for so long. The lady we met at the door, she's called Dali, and she kind of looks after the place. She still lives here. She's lived here for a long time. She's going to speak to us in a bit after she's finished some chores. But there's also another guy that lives here called Irakli, who hopefully we might get to speak to as well. Are these marble? This is all marble.
It's all marble.
Yeah. So this was like the height of Soviet wealth and power. Yeah.
It's very beautiful that these people still live here because they have cleanliness, you know?
So the people that live here still look after the place, yeah.
Yes.
You've got an old piano here, is there?
Oh, yeah. So like
smashed out.
The lady herself that you see right now,
Yeah.
and the second one, that Irakli, they are permanently living here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually, she has a new apartment, like she said, but she's not going there for 2 reasons. First of all, she loves this area.
Yeah.
She's like a queen of this area, you know, and no one can
touch her.
interfere in some ways her power over this area.
Yeah.
Irakli is like a adopted son for her, you know.
Right.
That man doesn't have parents, all siblings are killed, like 7 siblings were killed, and the parents as well in front of his eyes. He was just 11 years old, as I remember.
wow.
In 1994, he was moved here to the sanatorium Metallurg, and then he was the guy who, in some ways, became the son of these women. These women was raising him up until this age. Now, as I remember, he's more than 40 years old, and he's battling with different diseases like psoriasis on the skin, nervous anxiety, because he saw so many things up there. He's not able. He's disabled in some ways because he cannot work. He cannot work, and he lives here, and this lady is still taking care of him.
Yeah. What?
Look at this guy right there.
Oh wow. Oh, so all these balconies you can see. All of the balconies here were kind of like where people were living, right? Yeah, you can see this side as well, where all the balconies where people were lived in.
This is the guy.
Oh wow.
Oh yes.
This is one of the remaining residents of metallurgy, this tree. Which has been here since 2007, did you say?
7.
2017. All right, so we just met up with Dali, and she's going to show us her room and tell us a story.
Turk coffee in the restaurant.
Which coffee do you want? Turkish?
Oh, which coffee has she got?
Like they have Turkish coffee,
Yeah.
or the one that is a little bit, lighter.
Maybe the lighter one.
Meoreikos.
Shen?
Or I'll be awake all week. So this is the kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Smells like khachapuri.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant. So Dali has kindly invited us into her kitchen on one of the floors. This is where she lives, and she's made me a nice little coffee before we have a chat. And khachapuri as well. Madloba.
ჩვენ ამას არ ველოდებოდით და უეცარი შეტაკება იყო აფხაზეთი საქართველოს შვა მაგრამ
She just basically said that like 1992 was the time when war started in Abkhazia. It was claimed as a war between Georgia and Abkhazia, but there's a similar like the country Abkhazia is part of Georgia, nothing else, and everything was facilitated by the Russians. So Russian power was the one that backed them up in some ways and pushed them to start the war. And the mother of 3 children, and the mother that took care of almost every neighbor and everyone, just was left without a house, and her husband was wounded as well and damaged in a bad way during the war. She lost almost everything, including house and including the family members' lives as well.
Obviously, she moved here, and then what was life like in Tskaltubo? Like, what was it like when they got here?
So she said that it was difficult on many levels. You can have all kinds of health when it comes to your physical conditions, but when it comes to spiritual, when you have the health problems there, psychological problems, it affects everything, So she basically said that everything was difficult. Food was difficult. Living here was difficult. Sleeping was tough. It doesn't matter what kind of beautiful place you would bring her or something. Nothing was comfortable, because spiritually they were missing those territories and their houses and everything.
Yeah.
She didn't get the apartment, but he's like a boy and 2 daughters. All of them are married now, and all of them got new apartments from the government.
Okay. Does she want to get her own apartment, or does she prefer living here? I think you called her the queen of metallurgy.
რას ფიქრობთ, თქვენთვის ახლა აქ ცხოვრება საუკეთესო რა თქმა უნდა არ იქნება იმასთან შედარებით, რაც აფხაზეთში იყო, მაგრამ yep, she loves the space, like she said. She loves the space. At the end of the day, she has to move out still,
still
because like they will start to renovate this area, so there will not be opportunity to live here. But if it comes to her and only to her, she will tell you that like much more space, and this place is the one that she prefers to live, because she got used to it in some ways.
Right, so she prefers
Yes.
living here. Or has she ever been back to Abkhazia, and does she think she'll ever have a chance to go back? If
Oh,
not?
ერთი კითხვა. So she's been to like Abkhazia 2 occasions. Like I told you, her husband's friends, relatives, and the other ones helped her to cross the border. But she doesn't have hope that it will ever happen to go back, like usual, like to move there and settle there, or something like that they have to have before.
Yeah, that's sad. But
Yeah.
Cool. Well, can you thank her for taking the time to speak to me, and I think she's a very courageous woman. So I hope she continues being the queen of metallurgy for a long time.
ხო, იმას ამბობს, რომ ანუ ყველაფერს კარგად გისურვებთო, კიდევ ერთხელ მადლობა ინტერვიუსთვისო და მადლობა რომ დრო დაგვითმეთ.
Thank you, madloba.
Madloba.
Madloba, baby.
So we're just meeting Irakli, who is from Abkhazia, and he's kindly said that he's going to explain his story to us.
Abkhazia was a place of glory and place of wealthiness in some ways. So before the 1992, you can say that almost everything was perfect there. Life was perfect, conditions were perfect, they had working opportunities, living opportunities, everything. Then 1992, actually, like everything changed. 1994, everyone was damaged there, everyone lost their houses, their facilities and lifestyle, So from one reality, when it's a light, you just woke up in darkness, that's what he says. He's from Gagra. So closest side to the like Russian border,
Like up in the north.
that one is like called Gagra. That's where he's from. So Ochamchire Gali Gagra, he's from the Gagra. And he says that like not only because he lived there and he was born and raised there, but Gagra was the most beautiful part of the Abkhazia in some ways. 1991, when the Russian army came to their houses, his parents were killed, grandparents were killed, siblings, and together he lost 9 family members. Himself, for almost 1.5 years, like 1 year and 3 months, a little bit more than 3 months, he spent under like Russian sentence, like with the other refugees as well, who lost their houses. And then in the 1994, he had to overcome the mountains. So from Abkhazia to come here, they had mountains to come. So he overcame mountains and came to Tskaltubo and was able to live here since that time. He was turning 13 when he came to Georgia, other parts of Georgia, like Tskaltubo. Then he said that like he was raised here. His personality and everything came about here. And Dali was the lady who took care of him. Like she was like bringing him to the school, and everything good that happened after the tough part of his life is connected to this area and the lady. So he said that like this like sanatorium was suitable for 200 people in total. Like if you split every room separately and like comfortably for everyone. But if you imagine in the 1994, when these places were reopened and given houses to them, 900 people lived here, around 900 people, like 8 people in this room, I had like 9 people in the other room, and that's how it happened, Since he became like 13 years old, he's having the white hair, he's never been changed the same way. He went like overnight. He went like to have this kind of like white hair in just overnight. He had 2 strokes as well, and he's having the skin disease like psoriasis. At the same time, when it comes to government, he started estimating with himself, his condition, in the way that he said, almost everyone in this area was given like the apartments, but not him, because like he doesn't have the how to say enough like points. There's some point system where people are getting the apartments.
As in the new apartments?
Yes, new
Oh, so he's never been given the opportunity?
He's never been given the opportunity.
I presume he's never been back? Or...
იქ არასდროს არ დაბრუნებულ ხარ ხომ ასმარე ქართული შესაძლოა. He never had the opportunity.
ერთი მინდა სასაფლაოც, მაგრამ უკვე არც მაგი ვიცით მე ხო.
He said that like the family members that were killed in front of his eyes, he like how to say dug the grave for all of them,
when he was
11 years of age, like all family members of him he placed in his own garden. But he says that like he never had the opportunity to go back to the Abkhazia, unfortunately. At the same time, like he is more concerned about the future of those people, those like the corpses, because those corpses might be taken out of the graves and burned or something like that. Because they actually did it. They cut the people's head, like corpse's head, and then they played football. Yeah, football that way. Yes, that's how unfortunate that was. Yeah. He said that the future is not only about us. The Russia would be the most powerful driving force when it comes to our Caucasus region, because there's nowhere else to go in some ways. But when it comes to future, it purely depends on Russia and the war that is happening with Ukraine right now. That's how it goes. Hope is the last thing that ever dies, like we say in Georgia, but still that hope has to have some kind of fundaments behind it, That's it. Yeah.
So there we go. That was Dali and Irakli's stories. If you do ever come here, they're going to be moved out at some point, I think. But if they're still here, they said they're quite happy for people to come in and hear their stories. Basically, if you've got someone that speaks Georgian, perhaps Russian, you can learn a lot about the Abkhazian conflict from them, and you can learn a lot about what it was like living here in Tskaltubo as a refugee or as an internally displaced person for pretty much the rest of their lives after they left Abkhazia in the early 1990s. Really powerful stories, to be honest. It's hard to put into words, obviously, because I've never obviously experienced anything like the people that live in or have lived here in Tskaltubo have gone through. You just have to remember that a lot of people around here do have tough stories like this. And when you hear them, you start to understand the character of Georgian people is strong. I think, as Lasha said, hope is the last thing to die. And Georgians never seem to give up hope.
It's everything much better than it actually be.
Yeah. So these are all the new apartment blocks where people are living.
This was built since the 2014, and they even have the kindergarten for the children.
They've got their own school. Yeah. So this is Abkhazia Street.
This is called the Street of Abkhazia.
Yes, named after the occupied territory.
Yes, in the honor of the occupied territory.
Cool. So most of the people that used to live in the hotels are now being moved to these places.
They lived in sanatoriums originally, and now most of them are moved to this.
We've just come over to the newer part of town on the edge of Tskaltubo, and we're going to go and talk to a lady called Gwanza. She's like a local painter and artist. I met her last time I was here actually, and she's going to again tell us her story and what it's like to live in Tskaltubo today. Yeah,
but it's quite good apartment actually. It has its own lift right here, and every people are close to each other.
Yeah, I mean compared to the hotels and the sanatoriums, this is amazing, right? When did they build these?
Approximately 2014 was the time when they built everything.
Okay, since 2014.
The other facility for the refugees was built in 2010, and approximately 120 families got moved there. My friends are living there too.
So yeah, we're just up on Gavanza's balcony, and amazing view they have from the top here. This is they're building a church.
Yes, they are building
Yeah.
a church. Ansa is her first name, Jania is her second name. She's been living here since the 1993. 1993 was the time when they moved here. She spent approximately more than 30 years here, and she was 13 years old when she left Abkhazia, and like now she's 45 years old. Then she got married to the boy who lived in the other sanatorium. You know, the sanatorium that she lived, it's called Interest. It's just 2 minutes away from us. The second, her husband lived in sanatorium called the Samgurali. If you remember, we visited Imereti Sanatorium, and just around the corner is Samgurali Sanatorium too. Then they got married to each other. In some ways, she felt like a stranger here, you know. Of course, different city, different facilities, and of course, there's no psychological the help, because born and raised in different area, born and raised in a different type of house and every environment. That's why it was quite difficult. She said that in some ways her generation is a forgotten and lost generation, because all those talented people and everything were just normally working on the other stuff that they were not suitable for, you know, but just because for the survival. Of course, they had food and some other things, but still life turned out to be much more difficult than they imagined. At the same time, sanatoriums that they were given a places to stay, of course, were quite damaged, so it was quite a challenge to live there and survive a daily basis. Even up until the 2023, then before they got this apartment and much more comfortable facilities, for them life was either more difficult.
So despite the fact they were living in the hotels in not very nice conditions, was it like the sense of the community around them that helped them sort of to get through? And
People got connected to each other by each other. You know, those Abkhazians that came here together, they kept themselves close to, and of course they managed to survive here together as well.
Yeah.
And how to say, become much more familiar to these lands.
I can't remember, she was like a painter or an artist.
Yeah, she still paints.
And she's still
She
painting.
paints.
Yeah. So was that like a kind of? Could you ask if that was her sort of her ambition, her dream?
ხო, ანუ დღესაც საგრძელებ ხო ჩვეულებრივად ხატვას როგორ
კი, როგორ არის? კიდევ ვუმატებ რაღაცას, ეხლა დავუმატე კი განახეთ.
So she's quite talented when it comes to art, for example, but it's mostly the self-taught, you know. She studied everything on her own. But she's not only very talented in painting, but she's very talented when it comes to the working on the clay as well. And she mentioned that she lived some years in Russia, she lived some years in Ukraine too. She knows everything. She says that she's been in both of these countries. She's lived there as well, and she said that people are quite similar to each other, but politics are the ones that are splitting them from one another too. It's politics which are pushed to happen this way.
Yeah, it's the politics that divides the people.
Yep,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
You could.
And she asked me if you ever been in Russia.
In Russia, no. In Ukraine, yes.
უკრაინ?
უკრაინაში კიდევაც არა.
თითქმის ერთი კულტურა, ხა იქაც ვარ ცოტა ხანი ნაცხოვი და იქაც.
Yeah, she mentioned she's one of the occasions when it comes to estimation of Russia in some ways that they literally underwent the harsh reality and politics that came from Russia.
So she's not a fan of Russia.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah, you know, how to say, how can you be? How can you be?
Exactly.
Because what she underwent, losing family members, losing house, the homeland, the opportunities, there's no other way around it, you know.
There's no way you could.
არის ნახო.
First question: has she ever been back to Abkhazia? And then second question: does she think that Georgia will ever be whole again?
She's been to Abkhazia 3 years ago. When she was moved here in 1993, she was split from her parents. They stayed in Abkhazia. Father actually died 3 years ago, and she was given a permission to go to Abkhazia to attend the funeral. Mother is there. Mother is still living there.
In Abkhazia.
Yes, in Abkhazia,
okay.
like taking care of the, like a family, taking care of the house, and of course the grave of the husband.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like getting back,
Yeah.
there's always will be some kind of hope that there will be a possibility to do it.
Okay. So how come her parents are still allowed to live there?
Mhm. You can live there as a citizen of Russia. You can live there as a citizen of Abkhazia, two different passports. And the last one is a temporary citizenship, you know. And then the last one, temporary citizenship, is the thing why they are kept in Abkhazia still, you know. So
Okay.
Abkhazian governors are gonna give them this temporary
Yeah.
like document. It's like a paperwork, and they will stay there, and then they will refresh it, and that's how it goes, you know.
Right. Okay.
She said that like there always will be hope. Their hope will always exist that they can go back there, you know.
Well, thank you, Madlova.
მადლობა თქვენ.
For hosting me again for the second time and answering my questions.
მადლობა რომ ხელმეორედ მიმასპინძლეთ. დავასვა ჩემ კითხვებს.
არა, რაცა. ყავას დავადგა მიქნებით აქ. გამომიტან.
Like she says that she will bring you coffee.
Oh, okay.
You know, all these people right here are quite welcoming, you know, and quite friendly.
Yeah, really welcoming. It's nice. So the lady we just spoke to in her house, Gavancha, so she actually used to live in this sanatorium up there. So she used to live up here on the hill in the building just behind there, just like 200 meters away from the new flat she's in now. It's amazing, the hospitality of the people in Tskaltubo. We just sat on her balcony and chatted about Abkhazia and Tskaltubo and Georgia and Russia. And yeah, she's could have stayed there all afternoon, to be honest, sat in the sunshine. But now we've got more sanatoriums to see. Okay, so we're just going to check out the Friendship Sanatorium, which was built around 1934-35 and was the first sanatorium that was built in Tskaltubo. So here it is. This is the original sanatorium.
Yeah, actually 6 or 7 families still live here.
Oh, people still live here as well.
People still live.
Okay.
These are the locals.
All right. Hello. Gamajova. Hey, Gamajova. I'm Richard.
His name is Zura.
Zura.
Richard.
Richard, yeah.
Oh, Richard Mesad.
Richard the Third.
Richard the Third. Like the king.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. Yeah.
And also, melody.
Oh, you know. Okay. This is Zura, and he's resident here at the Friendship Sanatorium. So we're just chatting with Zura here. He's a man who loves his poetry and his creativity, and like a lot of people we met in the older hotels, he also came here in 1993 from Abkhazia, and we've just been chatting about Shota Rustaveli, who is one of the most famous Georgian poet. He wrote the Night in the Panther's Skin, and I think now he's gone to get something for us to toast with, which, this being Georgia, could be very strong. Oh, what is this?
Like I told you, he's very
Homemade
welcoming. დალევით მე ვერ დავლე, მე საჭესთან ვზივა.
Hello. Hey, buddy. Does the cat have a name?
კატას ქვია რამე?
Atash, არა, მე რაფერს აურძო.
აჰა, no name.
No name.
მოდი ამჭიქით ქართულ ენას გავუმარჯვო.
Galmajos.
He said the toast for the Georgian language, you know?
For the Georgian
Yeah,
language.
for the Georgian language. He says that like for him, like Georgian language is the wealthiest like language ever, you know? He asks
Churchill.
about the Winston Churchill, if you remember him. So give me your glass.
One more glass.
ახლა მე რაღაცას ვიტყვი, გადაუთარდე სიტყვას.
კი ბატონო, მიდის უარის.
შენ თქვენ
Always one more glass in Georgia.
თუცა გიგიტყია ნორველი გიერი მწერალი კულტშამსი.
არ წამიკითხებს. You know, well educated and very welcoming.
Very welcoming, yeah, incredibly hospitable. So, on the second floor of the Friendship Friendship Sanatorium, there's like a library. Maybe that explains why he's so well read.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Zura was incredibly well read, and he seemed to like his toasts as well.
And actually, like, there's a written something on Russian, and I'll tell you on English.
Okay.
So right there.
Hold on, so this is the library.
Yes. Любите книгу, источник знаний. Love kings. It's like a source of life and knowledge. And it was
okay.
written by Russian, whose last name is Gorky. He
Yeah.
was a writer too. So that's pretty much it that we have here, you know?
Yeah.
Small library, small amount of people, and they will live in very comfortable conditions, you know? Here.
Yeah, it seems
Then
like it's...
combination of balconies,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
lovely balconies.
Oh, so they've got little gardens out there as well, like at the back.
Almost everywhere, you know?
Have you met Zura before?
Oh yes.
Ah, you have, yeah.
Once or twice, you know. He calls me like a. Oh, it's like. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
So yeah, this is Friendship Sanatorium.
How about that?
ჩამოდიან საქართველოში, ახლა ერთი კაცი თქვენ რაშინ. და მოწონთ საქართველო და მოწონთ ქართული სიმღერა, ადამიანობა, წვანაცვლობა და ვინც არ ფიქრობს იმას, რომ საქართველო დაიწყო, შევჭამო, ხო დევსახ, ხო,
Like he mentioned that like all our history is filled with battles, and he says that anyone who comes here with peace might have to be appreciated, you know.
So anyone that comes here with peace, you have to toast. Do we have to toast?
Would you drink it?
Okay. To peace, to peace.
მე ბოდიში მე რო შევისხი პირველად. გადავთარგმნე.
He says sorry that he poured only for himself.
Oh. Zura, here's to peace. Gamajos. But Gamajos means the victory, right?
Gaumarjos means the victory. Yes. Whenever you will say Gamarjuba, it means like a praise, respect, you know.
Yeah.
ოცნებას გაუმარჯოს, ოცნება.
He says that like glory to the dream.
ოცნებას ვერ მოკლა, ოცნებას ვერ დავამარცხე, ვერ დავამარცხე.
So like
შენ რასაც ფიქრობ, ოცნებაში და რას გინდა, ვაგისრულდეს იმ აპოგია.
He says that like all the dreams and all the goals that you have in your head and mind should come true.
Wow.
აუმარჯო.
Cheers. Gamajos. Gamajos. Ash has just dropped me off back at Tskaltubo Legend Spa Resort, and it's an incredible tour around Tskaltubo. So if you guys are ever in this area, sign up for his tour.
Was very nice.
With Budget Georgia, right?
Yes.
So yeah, cheers, man, and I'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Visit to Tskaltubo is a chance to see the kind of conflicting world that Georgia exists in. On the one hand, you've got all these new hotels, you've got these refurbished hotels, and you've got the Soviet legacy as well. But then on the other, you've still got, it's hard to put into words. On the other, you've still got the IDPs, the refugees from Abkhazia, from Ossetia, that are still living in what are still effectively abandoned resorts and hotels that they've kind of been forced to turn into their homes. It really just brings home how conflicted the post-Soviet world is. I mean, you've got the war in Ukraine, and then you've got the legacy of all these conflicts in Georgia that is still very much apparent when you come to places like this. And unfortunately, many of the people live in the sanatoriums that came across from Abkhazia in the 90s will possibly never see their homeland again. At least not in the near future anyway. Not with Russia kind of looming over everything. So I'd recommend getting yourselves here if you're ever in Georgia, so you can at least kind of understand what it is that all the people went through, how they were living in these hotels for so many years, for decades, before the Georgian government built them the new flats. And that even now, as effectively refugees in their own country, they're still struggling. If there's one thing to take away from today, it is that Georgians never give up hope. I think the rest of the world can learn a lot from that. So yeah, thank you for watching my video about Tskaltubo. It's not just a spa town, not just a place full of abandoned Soviet buildings, but a place where you can learn about the modern history of Georgia like nowhere else in the country really.